Hello and welcome to another video on my YouTube channel. My name is Joris and today I'm here with a video about Ark Invest, the investment company of Cathie Wood, and I'm going to mention the ETFs that she has right now here in Europe. So Cathie Wood and Ark Invest. Catherine Wood or Cathie Wood is the CEO of Ark Invest, and Ark Invest is known for its ETF ARK with double K at the back because that's the ARK Innovation ETF, and because of the good performances in 2017 and 2020, the Cathie Wood was often seen on television, so on CNBC, CNN, and Bloomberg. She was often there talking a lot about the companies where she believed in, and yeah, a lot of people went along in the hype that she created, and others created as well. So it's not only Cathie Wood that did that, but it's just I'm making now a video about Ark Invest, so it's I can't name Cathie, I can't not name Cathie Wood in this regard. But Morningstar said that it was the biggest wealth destroyer between 2014 and 2023. So the ARK ETF lost as much as $7.1 billion of shareholder value in that period. If you look at the performance since its inception, the Innovation ETF actually didn't perform that bad, but compared to the Nasdaq 100, of course, it really underperformed that one. But honesty is really important, so I need to say that 95% of the investors probably did worse than the Nasdaq 100 in the same period. But Cathie Wood is actually persona non grata because she gave a lot of controversial, crazy price targets for some of the companies in which her ETFs were investing, and she had and has the advantage that she received a lot of money and she could buy a lot of companies. So when she was wrong about one company, the other companies make it up. So she's right enough of the times to not lose it all and also still gain in value for her ETFs. So we will see shortly that all the ETFs that she has in the USA right now are since inception still up. Some not much, others way more. But the crazy thing is, even though she became a persona non grata in 2020, in 2021 in fact, because then her ETFs crashed, now you can see her again on CNBC and CNN. Maybe it's a sign on the wall that the markets are going crazy again, but who is going to say it? I'm just saying what I'm noticing. So it's crazy that she is again giving crazy price targets on her companies on the same channels as before. So let's look at the ARKG fund, the Ark Genomic Revolution ETF, and here you can perfectly see what was going on in fact. So when the pandemic hit in 2020, there was a lot of money flowing towards the markets, and because Cathie Wood was living up the hype just like other people, a lot of money flowed into her ETFs, and that drove up the price of the companies. And because the companies were rising, people were afraid of missing out, so they had FOMO. They also jumped on the bandwagon of all those companies, which made that the ETFs gained even more price value. And here you can see that in just 1 year, those ETFs shot up in value like crazy, but it only took 1.5 years to lose it all again. And up to today, it's still dropping this one. So it lost since its top more than 75% of its value. Then you have the ARK Innovation ETF, so the flagship ETF of Cathie Wood. And that one, since its top of the beginning of 2021, lost more or less 60%. And you can see that at the last few months, it is going higher and higher again. And that's mainly because of Tesla that it is holding, because Tesla gained a lot of value again in the last few months. And you can see the same image for the ARK Autonomous Technology and Robotics ETF. So that one is up almost 300%. And here, yeah, it's also Tesla that is carrying a lot of the gains here, because yeah, the last 2 months since the election of Trump, the stock of Tesla is going crazy again. So it's at its all-time high or around its all-time high again, and you can see that in the value of the ARK investment funds again. But what about ARK Invest in Europe? Well, on the 19th of September of 2023, ARK Invest took over RIZE ETF, and RIZE ETF had 11 UCITS ETFs. So UCITS ETFs are the ETFs that are constructed according to European rules, and RIZE ETF started them between the 12th of February of 2020 and the 17th of August of 2023. So two of them were then started on the 17th of August, and yeah, that's actually pretty short before ARK Invest took over RIZE ETF. And yeah, you can see the 11 ETFs here, and they were all following a Foxberry index. And they were all passive. They had they have or had total expense ratios of 45, 0.45 up to 0.55%. And I said had because after they took over RIZE ETF, ARK Invest immediately put in the work to analyze those ETFs, and they decided to shut down pet care, the medical cannabis and life science ETF, the education tech and digital learning ETF, and the emerging market internet and e-commerce ETF, because there wasn't enough money invested into those ETFs. You also have the circular economy enablers and the digital payments economy, who don't have that much money invested into them. So 1 million Swiss francs and 5 million Swiss francs. The digital payments economy ETF is probably still safe because of the ETFs that I'm going to mention next. But so those 7 ETFs are still available, and they start still with RIZE. So it's RIZE Circular Economy Enablers ETF that you can find on the SIX and other stock markets on the European continent. But yeah, they also wanted to start their more known ETFs here in Europe, of course. So they started the ARK, the ARKI, and the ARKG in Europe. And they started them on the 12th of April of this year. And on the SIX stock market, they are available since the 14th of August of this year. And you have the same problem as with all the ETFs on the European continent. You have a lot of tickers. And it's the same for ARK Invest company. So they have ARK, the same ticker as in the USA for their European Innovation Fund, but on different stock markets here in the European continent, you also have the ticker ARXK or ARCK for the same ETF. I said it before and I'm going to repeat it. It's really annoying that you have all those different tickers. When it is because they have different currencies, I can totally understand. So on the London Stock Exchange, when they have a notation in pounds, that it's then called ARKP, I don't care. That's normal. But for the complete same ETF, having different tickers, that's also always crazy. So the ARK investment fund, it has 19 million Swiss francs invested in it. Currently, there are 32 holdings. in this fund, and it is up 26.82% since its inception date, the 12th of April of this year. So really great performance, but the market was performing great as well. Then you have the ARKI, the Artificial Intelligence and Robotics UCITS ETF, with 24 million Swiss francs invested into it. 41 holdings are in this ETF, and it is up 46.52%. So really great performance of that one as well. Then you have ARKG, the Genomic Revolution UCITS ETF, and that one has only 5 million invested into it. So that's why I said with the RIZE ETF with only 5 million invested into it, that it's probably still safe. The one with 1 million invested into it, the circular one, I think that one is going to be shut down as well. Maybe they are going to incorporate it into the one with the payments. I don't know, but probably they are going to shut that one down as well. And that one has 37 holdings, and it's down 3.42%. So that one is down. And then you have the actively managed funds. So the other ones were passive, but these three are actively managed, and they are under the lead of Cathie Wood for sure. They have a total expense ratio of 0.75%, and they are fully replicated funds. All the funds of RIZE are in fact also fully replicated, but those ones were passive. So yeah, the ARK Innovation UCITS ETF, total expense ratio of 0.75%. The currency on the 6 is 5.606 Swiss francs right now for one share, and it pays out no dividend. So you have the top 10 holdings of the 32 holdings in total make up 62.46%. So the diversification of this fund isn't that great at all. But still, okay, you have 32 holdings in total, so it's better than just holding the top 10, of course. But look at this, it's Roku, 9.27%, Coinbase, 9.80%, Tesla, which makes that the value of the ETF shot up like crazy, Palantir as well, of course, but Tesla for sure the last month and a half, so 8.97% there, Roblox 5.55%. But a thing that is really great for Swiss inhabitants, it's the fact that the fund also invests into CRISPR Therapeutics. 4.59% of the fund is made up by CRISPR Therapeutics. So if you look at the sectors there, technology making up almost 30%, telecommunication 21%, healthcare 19.68%. So CRISPR Therapeutics is in the healthcare sector. Then you have financials 15.73% and consumer discretionary 10.36%. If you look at the countries, the USA is heavily overweighted with 88.92% of the fund being in the United States, and Switzerland with CRISPR Therapeutics making up 4.59% of the fund. Canada is following with 4.27% of the fund with Shopify. Then you have ARKI, so total expense ratio of 0.75%. A share costs 6.582 Swiss francs right now. There is no dividend on the SIX stock exchange. You can see that here it is written distributing ETF, but it's not a distributing ETF. So you're not going to get paid out a dividend at all. I hope they correct that on the site of the SIX stock exchange. And the top 10 holdings of the 41 holdings in total make up almost 49%. So a little bit better diversified than the ARK investment fund. And here Palantir and Tesla are making up the biggest part of the fund. And that makes that the last few months are excellent, of course, for this fund. And that's why they are up 46% since its inception. And sector-wise, yeah, look at that. Technology, almost 45%. Telecommunication, 18.26%. And once again, the United States making up almost 90% of the fund. So in that regard, I'm not a big fan of these funds, but more on that later. Then you have the ARKG, so the Genomic Revolution UCITS ETF, which is actually down with about 3%. So there you have the top 10 holdings of the 37 holdings that it contains, making up 52.78% of the fund. With here you have Twist Bioscience 8.27%. For the Swiss people, we need to be happy about that. That CRISPR Therapeutics is making up 7.15% of the fund. But yeah, you see it here. It's a lot of biotechnology, and biotechnology is a sector in which the companies, they use up a lot of money and they need reinvestments of their shareholders all the time until they hit it big with one molecule or two molecules, and then they can start making money. But it's with a patent, and if the patent is going to run out after 15, 16 years, because in that period they can make money, they need to do a lot of research. So the R&D part of biotechnology just uses up a lot of cash, and that's why I'm certainly staying away from the ARK Genomic Revolution UCITS ETF. If you look at the sectors, it says healthcare, but actually it should say biotechnology. It's 95.24%. And technology, yeah, it's actually all technology because it's biotechnology here. And countries, once again, United States, almost 88%. And Switzerland, yeah, CRISPR Therapeutics, which uses the CRISPR-Cas method a lot in its research, makes up 7.15% of the fund. So in that regard, Switzerland is represented for 7.15% in the fund. My opinion, ARKK and certainly ARKI performed very well the past few months because Tesla and Palantir are in the funds. But it is a really short time frame since the beginning of April. So for me, it contains promising companies, but also some that are definitely going to go bust. But as I said in the beginning of the video, that's also an advantage of investing in such an ETF. So Cathie Wood has a lot of money available to invest in different companies, and by doing so, she is spreading out the risk in risky businesses. So if you like risks, these ETFs are definitely an option for you. They are cheap as well, so which is really nice if you only want to invest small amounts every month in these risky ETFs. For me, they are too risky and too heavily weighted into technology and the US, and I would rather invest into a good S&P 500 or Nasdaq 100 ETF with a much lower total expense ratio, so around 0.20, 0.30. If it can, even lower with 0.10, 0.15. That's possible in Europe as well. But as you know, I'm trying to support the European market. So for me, a Euro Stocks 600 or MSCI Europe ETF is maybe even better than investing into the ETFs of Ark Invest. And with that being said, I thank you for watching to this video. I hope you liked it, and if you liked it, please consider subscribing hitting the subscribe button. Hitting that like button helps out the channel also, because then the YouTube algorithm distributes this video to other people that like this kind of content, and then maybe they subscribe as well to my YouTube channel, which is always great. And with that being said, thank you for watching to this one and see you on the next one. Bye.